Today's video is not going to be keto or low carb related. This is going to be something just a little different. I want to discuss weight loss surgery, RNY or gastric bypass in particular. I have zero experience and no knowledge of the other weight loss surgeries, so I'm only going to be able to talk about some of the issues that I personally had. But really quick, before I get started, welcome. My name's Kristi. Glad to have you here. I would love it if you would subscribe and become a member of my YouTube family. Check the description box, lots of discounts down there and some special deals, as well as all of my other social media accounts that I'm on: Pinterest, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Disclaimer: I am not a doctor, dietitian, medical professional in any way. I am an advocate for you doing research. Of course, you need to listen to your healthcare team, but make sure you get all of the information. You don't want to miss anything and possibly have some of the same issues that I do. I also want to mention the reason I have not spoke out or talked about my experience is, one, it's extremely painful. It is an emotional story, and this still isn't going to be my weight loss story. I just can't do it. Not yet. But I am going to be able to touch on my experiences and the issues that I've had. The reason I've not done this video before is because there's like 3 or 4 things we just don't talk about. Politics, religion, weight loss surgery. People have strong opinions to those, and I try to stay as neutral as possible. If you had a weight loss procedure or surgery and you have had an amazing experience and it looks nothing like the one that I have went through, I want you to know that I am happy for you. I really am. The point of today's video is to let people know there's 2 sides to every story. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. So remember, be kind in the comments. Everyone is allowed their own opinion and experience. Just because you may not agree with mine doesn't mean I'm wrong, and vice versa. I had gastric bypass, RNY, in 2006. I weighed in at almost 330 pounds. I'm around 5'11", so people told me I carried my weight well. Still, it was 330 pounds, and I had tried pretty much what I thought at the time was everything. And you know, if you have been looking into weight loss surgery or ever had an issue with your weight, losing weight is hard. I had tried Weight Watchers, diet pills, Fin, pretty much everything known to man. I do want to say that I had no comorbidities. I was not diabetic at the time, no high cholesterol, high blood pressure, nothing. I was literally the picture of health, except for the fact that I was 330 pounds. Remember, this was in 2006, but up until just recently, and this still may be factual, gastric bypass, RNY or RUNY, has been the most commonly performed weight loss surgery. This is a very invasive surgery. At the time, there were 2 ways to do it, still are. You can do it laparoscopic, or they can split you right down the middle and go in. When they go in, what they're going to do is basically dissect your stomach, but not equally. They're going to create what they call a pouch. That pouch is going to be about the size of the end of your thumb. This pouch is what's going to be receiving food. They're going to reroute that portion of your stomach and bypass a large section of your intestines. They do leave the remaining stomach in. It's not going to be used as far as food will not be going into it to digest, but it's still producing your stomach acids and things like that. So we're talking major procedure. I had complications straight out of the gate from the surgery, and I ended up staying in the hospital 1 week. Prior to the surgery, I had only seen my healthcare team twice. I scheduled my appointment in September, had it in October, and then my surgery was performed the 1st of January. Not all healthcare teams are going to be created equal. I didn't have the best one. There was not a lot of follow-ups. There were not groups to go to, therapy sessions, which I do highly recommend, especially if you're like me and have an addiction to food. You may end up with an amazing team or one like mine. Again, do your research and find a good team if this is something that you want to do. I do want to say I was a textbook patient as far as I followed every single rule. I did everything my doctor told me. I did not drink soda. I stuck to small portions, basically liquids. Now remember, my stomach was this size right here. Very little can go in there. I like to call RNY, or gastric bypass, forced starvation, because that's what's happening. From January until the summer, around July or August, I had lost all of the weight. My doctor had set a goal weight for me at my height of 185 pounds, and I got below that. I think at my lowest weight, I was at around 167 pounds. It was also around that time frame in the summer that I developed transfer addiction. I had no idea that was even a possibility. My coping mechanism has always been food. When that was physically taken away from me, I transferred my food addiction to another addiction. Now, there are so many others. I've heard of people shopping, alcoholism, the possibilities and list is long. So when you have a surgery like this, without fixing the mental aspect, or at least working on it in the process, transfer addiction is a real possibility. At the time, I didn't realize that's what I was doing, suffering from transfer addiction, but that lasted 11 long years. Just this past April, I was 5 years sober. Also, within the first year, I developed severe hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. What happened was, my body was used to running at 330 pounds. My pancreas was used to supplying insulin to a 330 pound person. Where I dropped that weight so quickly, my pancreas was still producing copious amounts of insulin. I was having low blood sugar episodes where my numbers would get down into the 20s, and it would happen in seconds or minutes. It wasn't like it was a slow lead up, and low blood sugar can be extremely dangerous. Another complication I had within the first year was dumping syndrome. Dumping syndrome can be different for everyone. Sometimes it can be vomiting, diarrhea. Some people can't even vomit. They just sit and dry heave, cold sweats, shaking. I've heard so many different symptoms from dumping syndrome. I have found everyone is different. For me, it was nausea, cold sweats. I could not vomit, so I had the foamies where I would just sit and heave. Basically, your textbook definition of dumping syndrome is when your food is dumped from your stomach or pouch into your intestines without being digested. Your body's not happy. And one thing I was not educated on was dumping syndrome doesn't just occur when you eat the wrong foods, when you eat something that you should be staying away from. I could have a salad today and be fine. I could have the same salad tomorrow and experience dumping syndrome. You never know. I had lots and lots and lots of hair loss. So much so that you could see my scalp. Of course, hair loss is your body's reaction to any major life event, any hormone issues, any weight loss. When it's that drastic, your body reacts. Hair was the first to go for me. I think that actually occurred within the first 3 months. So those were the issues I had within the first year. Looking back, they actually seem minor compared to what was to come. For me, as time went on, things progressively got worse. Now remember, my stomach was turned into a small pouch a large portion of my intestines were bypassed. It really just depends on where your surgeon ends up attaching to your intestines. Unfortunately for me, the portion of my intestines that ended up getting bypassed was the portion that absorbs my vitamins and my nutrients. So I became severely anemic, B12 deficient, pretty much deficient in every single vitamin and mineral. I am under the care, even 16 years later, of a hematologist. From the tests that my doctors have done, they realize I do not absorb anything. As far as pills go, the only way that I can absorb any nutrients or vitamins, iron, will be through infusions, shots, or sublingually. If it has to literally pass through my system into my stomach, through my intestines, I'm not going to get it. That's called malabsorption. This is not something that can be fixed for me. I will always be severely anemic, always require blood transfusions, iron infusions. I have to get lab work every 3 to 6 months to see where those deficiencies are and what corrections need to be made. A lot of people think that I'm not going to be able to absorb calories and fat. Well, guess what? That's wrong. Let me let you in on a little secret. And this is something a lot of people don't know. You can gain the weight back. And a large percentage of people do gain the weight back that they've lost. People think that your stomach does not grow back or stretch. Basically, it stretches back. It doesn't just grow on its own. But let's put it this way. If my stomach was transformed to basically the size of a grape, and this was all I was able to eat for the past 16 years, I don't think I would be here right now, because that is a small amount of food. The stomach that was made small does stretch back over time, and it will be able to hold a large amount of food, allowing you to gain the weight back. Many years down the road, I think it was around the 4 or 5 year mark, the bone loss started, the tooth decay from all of the dumping syndrome symptoms I had, the foamies. That stomach acid ate away at my teeth, causing decay, and the malabsorption issues, the forced starvation. My body needed nutrients from somewhere, so it took those nutrients from my bones, my teeth. So many people that I know that have had this surgery that now have dentures, partials, implants, and teeth are not cheap, people. This past January was my 16-year anniversary to my gastric bypass surgery, and I was just told recently that I'm having bone loss in this area of my face, causing it to be asymmetrical. Of course, that is due to the fact that I've had so many teeth pulled. This surgery has just affected so many aspects of my life that I was not told about by my healthcare team when I went for that initial consultation. And let's just be 100% honest. This is the dirty side of weight loss surgery no one wants to talk about. They want to glamorize it. They want you to think that it's going to be perfect. Well, it's not for everyone, and it wasn't for me. If I had to do it all over again, would I have gastric bypass? No. I would rather be 330 pounds and virtually healthy than have all of the health issues that I have now. I know everyone's outcome is going to be different. I just want you to know there are two sides to weight loss surgery, and you just don't know where you're going to fall. So research, research, research. Luckily now there are multiple different types of weight loss surgeries to look into. So if you feel like that is the route you have to go, you have options. For me personally, I wish I would have found a low carb lifestyle before I had RNY, because 3 years ago I had gained back a large majority of my weight. I was up to 232 pounds. That's when I found keto and low carb. And for me, this was the lifestyle change that I needed. So I was able to lose the weight. And now I'm at about 160 pounds, lower than I had ever got with gastric bypass. And no, just because I had gastric bypass, it does not affect the weight loss that I experienced through a low carb lifestyle. Because my stomach's not that big anymore, people. I absorb calories, I absorb fat, I absorb all of those nasty things that got me back up to 232 pounds. Okay, I'm sure I've made this video excessively long. I apologize. I just want you to know that not everyone's experience is perfect. If you are having a rough time, if you are experiencing some of the things that I did, there are groups out there that you can join on Facebook. There are YouTube channels for you to watch. There are healthcare professionals and therapists out there now that can help guide you through this process. You don't have to do it alone. And if your experience wasn't the best, still isn't the best, like mine, I'm here to validate those feelings for you of regret, remorse. It's okay to feel bad about the decision that you made, because I do. I just feel like nobody talks about it. If you're interested in more videos on my experience with weight loss surgery, or if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'd love it if you went ahead and subscribed and remember to hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.